Welcome back to another reaction for a Livid Lady's Guide to Getting Even, How I Crushed My Homeland with My Mighty Grimoires, episode 8. Okay, yeah. Sleeper agent.
いや、いきなり男が。行き倒れか？わからんが、この鎧の紋章、王都の騎士か。
I mean, last episode was pretty brutal. This last episode made or reiterated that there are no prisoners in the story. We are going to get our revenge one way or another. The tragedy of the house of Count Arty.
おかえりなさいませ。ご無事で。ただいま。起こしてしまったかしら。先に戻られたミレイ様が今夜神尾町には戻られるはずだと言っていたので、エリー様が本体と別行動を取られたと聞いて心配で。よかった。二人とも心配をかけたわね。時間も遅いわ。もう休みなさい。でもアルノーから報告は手紙で受け取っているわ。二人ともしっかり留守を守ってくれたようね。ありがとう。お帰りなさいませ。ミレイ？執務用の部屋にいると聞いたけど。
I mean, she knows. You are like very close to one another. She probably has an idea what you did as well.
けど、あれだけ二人が騒げば、嫌でもエリー様のお帰りだとわかります。いろいろとご苦労様。お怪我はございませんでしたか？大丈夫よ。問題ないわ。
All right, the payment.
これはさすがに隠せないわね。代償よ。神器を使うためのね。とりあえず腕を隠せるように包帯を用意いたしましょう。そうね。結構痛みもあるのよ。エリー様、あまり無茶はなさらないでください。え？
There's no rush for this revenge, right? You can take your time. You don't need to do this in a couple years. Granted, you probably want to kick the prince down before he inevitably is going to destroy his own kingdom. So I can see that, but again, there's no rush. The biggest problem I have is that, if I remember correctly, you told the knight to ring the bell for your revenge, which is not really... It's not really a big thing you got out of that, I feel like. It's not like you told him to assassinate the prince, to do something to help your revenge. It's just like, yeah, you are my messenger, essentially.
ベート城が俺の可愛いシルビーに嫉妬して陰湿な嫌がらせをしているそうだ。姉妹には階段から突き落として殺そうとしたらしい。
まさかそのようなことを。
あの冷徹な女ならあり得る。
確かにエリザベート城は殿下に対する言動に行き過ぎたものはありますが、そこまで愚かとは思えません。
まだ表には出ていないが、あの女は自分の紹介を使ってかなり悪どい仕事もしているようだ。王妃になった暁には王国を乗っ取るつもりでいるらしい。
But apparently, he was using... So you don't know. This just... Why are we even here? Why are we... I mean, sure, we are here to see him not really be a bad guy. But we are just going off assumption after assumption. None of this is really proven.
どこでそのような話が。
忠実なる民が知らせてくれた。
Yeah, listen to a commoner without, you know, normally if there was something like this going on, you would have more than one person tell you that.
なんという恐ろしいことを。生地頭が切れるだけに一旦悪事に手を染めると王国をも揺るがす存在になるということか。
だからな。
So you are like, hey, she's doing so much for the kingdom. Someone is telling us she bad and do bad without any evidence, and you are like, yeah, she do bad. We trust random person.
先手を取り、今度の建国記念パーティーの場であの女を糾弾し告発。
You're not even going to investigate. This is normally how it is done. Random tip comes, citizen or not. Hey, person A is doing bad. You're like, person A doing bad? That's not good. Let's see if we find evidence of person doing bad. We then send people to look for evidence. They find evidence, we go, yay. Found evidence, do denounce and condemn. Cool. We now find evidence, we now do condemn and denounce. But he's like, I don't give a fuck. So I'm assuming that the loyal citizen is just his little whore that he has. And that's it.
その上で婚約を破棄し、シルビーと正式な婚約を発表するつもりだ。
建国記念パーティーで。
ロベルト、お前がやるべきことは分かっているよな。
もちろんです。私は殿下に忠誠を誓った騎士なのですから。
I mean, I don't have a problem with him following orders. That's fine. The princess telling you to imprison the woman, you imprison the woman. That's fine. Not really your job to know what is right and what is wrong. But I would never in a million years believe that what a random citizen is saying is true over someone in nobility. That is why in a lot of these shows, nobility is always over commoners, so you don't have situation like this. If a noble person were to say this, I could at least be like, okay, there is more reason to believe it. Because again, a random citizen, I assume he is lying anyway. And these are all fabrication.
皆の者、聞け！私は宣言する！たった今、ここにいるシルビア・ロックイート城と婚約することを！
I'm so surprised he didn't, that all the nobles were not like, yeah, we don't want to follow this prince just instantly. Because he is just going to marry some random girl that has no standing, nothing.
この大バカ者！お前はレイストン家の令嬢に何をしたのか分かっているのか？
父上、私は殿下の近衛騎士として正しいことをしたまでです。
騎士だと？公衆の面前で暴力をもって淑女を組み伏せ、恥をかかせるのがお前の言う騎士のやり方か？
私の剣は殿下に捧げたもの。
Granted, his dad is right. You did that for no real reason. Because it's not like she was running away. It's not like she was trying to attack someone. You just rested her down for no reason.
殿下がお望みならば、ご命令に従うまでです。
この愚か者が！
私は間違ってなどいない。
I mean, that is a question of perspective. If you are like, yeah, out of the viewpoint of the prince, you didn't do anything wrong. You followed his orders. Or the viewpoint of, I would say, everyone else, you are like an idiot. Because there was no reason for you to do any of that.
騎士として忠誠こそが正義。
Yeah, and see what did that loyalty bring you?
僕は
ロベルト様、
アーニャ。
気がつかれたのですね。あの紛争の中、よくご無事で。
ここは一体。
アーティ家のお屋敷です。
え、
荒野で倒れていたところを行商人が見つけたそうです。
荒野で。
すぐにご主人様と奥様にお知らせしてきます。
僕は殿下のお供をしてサージャス小王国の侵攻の援軍として。
Yeah, and you were ordered to kill innocent citizens, innocent people, right? And you are a knight. You are following command. You did nothing wrong, right?
それか
お待ちください、ローリーゼ様。お兄
ら。おロアリ。
様、よかった。本当によかった。
The episode was called "The Downfall of the Arty family." Pretty sure he got told to go ring the bell and revenge thingy, right? Announce the revenge of her. What I could see is the prince blaming him for everything. Yeah, I feel like that is where we are going, right? Because he's all about loyalty. He's just following orders. Now that he's back, the prince is going to be like, I never ordered any of this. He acted on his own. I have nothing to do with that. Showing him that this is what his loyalty got him.
お兄様。
目が覚めたか。
And for that reason, the whole family probably gets punished.
父上。
ご主人様、お父様、お兄様は怪我をしてるのよ。
お前というやつは何度バカを繰り返せばわかるのだ。国王陛下の許可もなく勝手に軍を動かした上、帝国領土に侵攻し兵を失い、おめおめ指揮官のみ生き残るとは恥を知れ。
違います。私は騎士として。
黙れ。我がアーティ家の恥さらしが。もはや貴様に騎士の資格はない。今日付で騎士団から除名し下級兵として編入させた。一兵卒からその根性を叩き直せ。
Can he do that? I'm not sure. Isn't like the king deciding who would be called a knight? Which, by the way, we shouldn't forget, there's still a king. He should still be the one leading the country, not the prince. The king should normally be like, hey, why did the prince start this war? Because I feel like if the king is here, he's going to find out that the prince went over to their country and do all of the shit. And I would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Similar to this father.
ロベルト、騎士として私は貴様のことを恥じて。
I mean, he's happy that he's alive, but from the very beginning, the dad was like, you should not hide behind this knight shield. Act on your own.
だが、父としてこれだけは言っておく。よく生きて帰った。
父上。
お父様はあなたのことをとても心配していたのよ。
母上、私は。
あなたならもう一度やり直せるわ。幸運にも生きて帰ってこられたのだから。今はゆっくり体を休めなさい、ロベルト。
I mean, I don't understand why are we building this whole thing up just for them to all get punished and potentially get killed? Are we supposed to feel bad? Why are we doing this?
すっかり元気になられて。
ああ、医者ももう問題ないと言ってるし、すっかり体がなまってる。明日から途上して鍛え直すよ。 一平卒としてね。
家の者は皆ロベルト様を信じております。
ありがとう、アーニャ。
Again, I don't understand.
僕は騎士として正しいことをしたはずだ。殿下の暴走を止めるためには帝国に投降するしかなかった。
You should have done this from the beginning, if that was the case. Again, I don't understand why we are building up this family. There's a father, the mother, the little sister, the maid, who all potentially get killed because, you know, the name of the episode. Why are we doing this? To show how brutal Our Lady is? I feel like last episode did that well enough.
あれは正しい選択だった。一からやり直そう。そしていつの日かまた騎士として殿下にお仕えしよう。それが僕にできる贖罪だ。どうぞ。
お兄様、そろそろ時間よ。
時間？
もう忘れたの？午後のお茶を一緒にしましょうって。
ああ、そうだったな。忘れてた。あれ、僕は部下たちと共に帝国に投降し帝都へ向かったはず。なぜ今ここにいる部下が全員死んで自分だけが生き残った？
お母様がお待ちかねよ。さあ行きましょう。
部下たちはどこで死んだ？いつどんな風に？
Now, I'm not assuming this is going to happen. But it would be really crazy if this whole thing is a hallucination. The whole family doesn't exist. This family is just an imagination to get him to do what he is supposed to do from the brainwashing. That would be a cool thing to do. But what I'm assuming they are just real and he's going to probably kill them himself.
僕は何か恐ろしいことを忘れているんじゃ。
赤き雨を降らせよ。お兄様？どうしたの？ぼんやりして。
え？ロ
ベルト様、ルワリーゼ様、奥様が。ロワリーゼ
様。体が勝手に何なんだこれは。違う僕は母上ロア。
It is very brutal. The whole idea of he can't stop it. He's not in control of his body. I just don't see the reason why we are doing this. With revenge stories, there are a lot of revenge stories out there. The biggest problem I have with most of them is that they turn into the perverse far too quickly. It's not a whole, hey, I want to take revenge. It's like, oh, I need to take revenge and do XYZ. Look at Reader of Healer as example. And it's like, at some point, it just goes too far for no reason. And I feel like this is in the same realm. Because essentially he didn't do anything. Right? He's a citizen of this country, sure. He imprisoned her. You could say, oh yeah, he wrestled her to the ground and whatnot. But that is it. He didn't even do anything in the kingdom, supposedly. He essentially surrendered before. He didn't follow any of the commands. Like pillaging, killing people. So why are we so set on torturing him? I would have liked this situation a lot more if this was inside the palace, where it would have a bigger effect. But here it's like we are just torturing this dude that didn't really do much from what we can see, what we saw, for no real big reason and no benefit, which I do not like. Again, it feels like we are just going into the perverse kind of revenge, because she can't see what is happening. She doesn't know what is happening. So there's no catharsis of like a revenge being done here. And there's also no strategic value. Because, as example, if this was in the palace and he was slaughtering people there, and he would then start mumbling that she's coming for revenge, that he was sent by, I forgot her name, our lady, and that is what he would say over and over again. That would then, after he gets defeated, get to the prince, and the prince would then potentially start getting scared because she was able to infiltrate or have someone infiltrate into the castle. That would be a lot more effective than this.
嫌だ。やめてくれ。行くな。行きたくない。やめろ。行っちゃダメだ。
この国は私がいただいた。キャー、魔女エリザベートよ。待て、お前の好きにはさせないぞ。フリード王子だ。フリードの剣を受けてみよう。いやー。
あんたの娘、またエリザベート役なのね。希代の悪女をやるのは私しかいないってさ。次期王妃様の立場を利用して悪どいことをしていた女よ。ほんと、シルビア様が気づいてくれなければどうなっていたか。フリード殿下が処罰してくださってよかったわ。
違う。僕じゃない。僕じゃないんだ。
Now also, if he can talk, why is he not shouting run away? He could warn them. He could do the right thing. He's not, I mean, sure. Inside the house, I mean, even then, just do something. I mean, you can't control your body, but you can say stuff. It's not like you have an inner monologue. That is why I would have liked an inner monologue, but the body's mumbling about Elizabeth.
違うんだ。僕は騎士なんだ。フリード殿下のこの騎士だ。こんなことするはずがない。するはずがないんだ。
それで最終的な被害は？
アーネスト教のご家族使用人以外に死生の民85名、兵士21名、騎士2名が死亡。その他重軽傷者が多数出ております。
騎士としての英才教育があだとなったか。
はい。ロベルトは学生時代武芸においてエリザベートに次いで優秀な成績を収めていました。
動機は分かったのか？
それが話を聞こうにも支離滅裂でして、自分じゃない、こんなことをするはずがないと繰り返すだけだとか。
I mean, he doesn't know about the Henry thingy. But again, I do not like this part at all. I don't see the benefits, the reason. It doesn't make any sense. It's not really part of her revenge. It doesn't really help her take revenge. Because sure, the commoners, maybe she wants to take revenge on them, maybe not. It's a lot of work to kill every single commoner, right? So what you want to do is take out all the leading people, like the prince or the nobles, and then the commoners are going to slowly but surely, probably go somewhere else or die or whatever the case. So I do not like this, just because it feels just, hey, it is brutal for brutal's sake, not because of some kind of benefit for the story. It doesn't make our character look good or something, because until now we would be able to be on Elizabeth's side, right? She got pushed out, she's somewhat innocent, she's willing to take revenge in her own hands, and she's also scrupulous. Okay, fair enough. She's doing what she needs to do. But this is too much. This is indiscriminate, no reason, especially because she could have had him do this inside the palace, inside the barracks, anywhere. But no, he just killed his family and a bunch of innocent people. For the only reason, because he was part of this country and he imprisoned her. And those two things are enough for her to have him kill a bunch of innocent people. It's like,
不明ということか。アーネスト、家族のことは気の毒だった。建国記念パーティーでフリードが起こした騒ぎは、なかった罪をエリザベートに着せることで。
We were able to brush your sons and Frida's wrongdoings under the rug. Bullshit. You were not. What is this? Why are we even here? This is like the worst part of the whole story, having this country at all. They're like, yeah, we brushed it under the rug. How? All the nobility was there. You can't just make it not happen. Everyone knows it happened. Everyone knows it happened. The whole nobility. The people that are important, essentially. Fuck the commoners. Who cares? So you can't just make it not happening. So you can't. This is impossible. It happened. I would, as a noble, never want the prince on the throne. I would want someone else to lead the country. And probably a lot of nobles think that way, because the prince is just unfit to rule.
罪をエリザベートに着せることで、フリードと貴殿の息子の行いを不問にできた。だが、こたびはこれだけ民に被害が出ている。さすがに恩情を与えるわけにはいかんのだ。すまぬ。
もったいないお言葉。こたびのことは愚息がしでかしたこと。その責は愚息とこの私にあります。何とぞ厳正な処罰を。
沙汰を下す。ロベルト・アーティ、大量殺人の罪により死罪とする。
参りました。
さすがはエリザベート嬢だ。2年生にして誰も叶う者がいない。
王太子妃候補筆頭だけのことはあるな。騎士団長の息子であっても彼女にはまるで歯が立たないか。
くそ。
ねえ、何をしているの？
いや、
So she was manipulating him as well, huh?
の練習を。
見てても 構わないかしら。
構わないけど。
I mean, this is. We know that she was sent here by someone, supposedly. At least it seems like it. But we have not seen her really do much. And she was also not part of the story at all, the one we just heard about what happened and the reason they imprisoned Elizabeth.
君、名前は？
私はシルビア。
やってくれたな、ロベルト。
殿下。
貴様がやらかしてくれたおかげで、俺にまで非難の声が上がってるんだぞ。まったく、貴様のような極悪人を騎士などに取り立てた俺が間違っていた。
殿下、聞いてください。あれは決して私の意志では。
あれだけのことをしておいて、今さら言い訳か。見苦しいやつめ。お前には失望した。
殿下。
まだ何か言いたいことがあるのか？
いえ、シルビア城は。
シルビーをこんなところに連れてくるわけがないだろ。最後にその命を使って俺の汚名を注いでおけ。すまないシルビー、待たせたな。
フリード様がいらっしゃらないので寂しかったです。とても。
シルビー、そういえばロベルトとは親しかったのか？
No。
ロベルト？全くというより、ほとんどあの人のこと知りませんもの。
そうか、そうだろうな。
降りろ。
So I'm guessing the mind control only goes whenever he has the sword in his hand. Is that the idea? It does make sense. So what I could see, and this is me being generous for the story. I don't know what the intention was, because the anime did not elaborate. Maybe the source material did. But maybe Elizabeth's idea was, hey, the next time you pick up a sword, you go crazy. You kill everyone. And the idea was that he's going to go back home. He's going to take up his sword whenever he goes back training as a knight. Potentially as a squire or whatever. And that is how he is supposed to run crazy. That was the idea. Now, he took up the sword inside the building, inside his own home, which then triggered the memory thing, the brainwashing. I'm going to assume that was Elizabeth's plan. For him, whenever he takes up a sword, he goes crazy. When is he going to take up a sword? Most likely whenever he goes back training in the barracks. I'm assuming that was the idea. I do not remember if she said something along those lines. Maybe we get a little bit, I would like a little bit of a view of Elizabeth where she is like, I hope he is now training in the barracks again. Or I can't wait for him to go back to the barracks. Or to be back in as a knight. Because then I would be like, okay. She didn't want him to kill the family and innocent people. She wanted him to wreak havoc inside the knights or the palace. But this is essentially an incident that happened. Well, then I would be more inclined to be on Elizabeth's side. It would explain why he's not going crazy right now.
私が殺してやる。
地獄へ落ちろ。沈まれ。
I do wonder if you don't use a wooden block, do you not use a sword then instead of an axe?
これより滞在人ロベルト・アーティの死刑を執行する。
ああ、これでやっと終わりにできる。愛する妹や母、家族同然の使用人たち、守るべき民をこの手で殺してしまった。誇り高い騎士を夢見たはずなのに。
最後くらい役に立ってね、騎士もどきさん。
なぜ忘れていたんだ。簡単に破壊された大切な神器。そうだ、何もかもあの女エリザベート・レイストンが仕組んだ。
待ってくれ。おとなしくしろ。僕の話を聞いてくれ。あの女エリザベート・レイストンがこの国に多くは。
I mean, the two executioners definitely heard that. And they should normally go and tell the rest that he was delirious and talking about Elizabeth.
あら？エリー様？
Oh, so it's only temporary, huh?
騎士もどきが死んだみたい。時間と手間をかけた分、王国での騒ぎは大きなものになったでしょうね。それよりもエリー様の腕が元に戻って安心いたしました。心配かけたわね。
エリー・レイス、随分と彼女を評価しているようだな、ルーインス。
ええ、私は評価に値すると判断しましたよ。先日のレブリック試借寮で起きた紛争での働きも称賛できるものです。おととい、皇帝陛下に拝謁したのですが。
Why is your hand so weird? Could be a divine regalia thingy again.
陛下も彼女の働きに対し、報酬をどうするか思案されているようです。
よかろう。ならば手を貸す。
Why are you here, Ferdinand?
そう。我々も彼女を直接判断する良い機会だ。
ルーカス様。お手紙が届いております。
果実、ハルドリア国内にて元近衛騎士のロベルト・アーティが。ロベルト？これも何もかも君の計画のうちなのか、エリー会長。
堂々と中庭で不謹慎です。殿下のおそばにいるのならふさわしいあり方を教えてあげないと。お嬢様がなぜ殿下の浮気相手の世話まで。構わないわ、これも私の務め。はあ、うんざりな夢ね。エリー様、そろそろご準備を。
Again, I don't remember what she said last episode. But it seems like she didn't really have a plan. At least the anime does not make it seem like she had a plan. She just wanted to have him wreak havoc in the kingdom. Again, it would have been so much better if at least she had him call her name so that people know she's coming as like an appetizer, or if this would have been planted. It just feels unnecessary for the story to showcase that she is essentially evil for this, because this is too far. If we had established that he and his knights did kill innocent people and pillaged and whatnot, they did the same as the mercenaries, or we got evidence that they did, which I believe we didn't. Not 100% sure. Then it would be like, okay, eye for an eye, totally get it. You just took revenge on all of these people, for all of these people, totally understand. But this, it feels like you have someone who essentially is following orders, didn't do any of the pillaging, if I remember correctly. Again, big caveat. And we just punished him for no reason. No real reason. It wasn't, again, not even any strategic thing. It would have been so much better if he just was mumbling her name. Elizabeth is coming for revenge. Elizabeth is coming for revenge. So that at least you put fear into the prince and stuff. Because then it would be, I would see this more as potential for the revenge plan.
今日はルーカス様との約束があったわね。今行くわ。
Because now also, if I was like Lucas or whatever, I would be double careful of dealing with her. Before I would be like, hey, you want to take revenge on the kingdom. They are more or less our enemies, especially now that they started this war. We can be on the same side. But now it's like, okay, you're going a little bit too far. You're like the Darth Vader of revenge here. We just want to take the kingdom over. We just want them to leave us alone. Not really, scorch earth the whole kingdom.
サージャス小王国は帝国に併合されサージャス地方となった。領土の半分が帝国の直轄領に、残り半分が報奨として我がレブリック領に可視された。
Okay, as I was assuming, this would be one of the best ways to have this conflict resolved by taking all of this into their empire.
おめでとうございます。
グリント王子は今そこの統治者として働いている。
帝国でよく使われる統治法ですわね。新たに編入された領地の統治者にかつての有力者を登用する。そうすれば住民の反発をある程度抑えられますから。
だが彼に実権はほとんどない。
He doesn't need to.
残された家族ともども帝国の監視下に置かれている。
For good reason.
戦後の処遇としてはマシな方だと思いますわ。
処遇か。帝国に下ったはずのロベルト・アーティがなぜか王国内で大量殺人を起こし処刑されたそうだ。詳細はわからんが君の仕業だろ。
彼にはのろしとなってもらいましたわ。私が始める報復のね。
That is what I mean. It's like no one knows you sent him. No one has an idea you sent him. So it's not really the start of your revenge for anyone apart from you. Maybe him. That is it would be a different thing if maybe this would have been like a plan, right? Either you have him announce that you sent him to give the starting point of your revenge, that people know you are coming, the big evil witch is coming, kind of deal. Or you have him and a bunch of other sleeper agents around the kingdom. Whenever he goes crazy, all the other people that find out about him going crazy also go crazy. And then you have like an incident of like 100 different people who go crazy. Like, as example, the whole army that surrendered. If you had every one of them be a sleeper agent, that would be a starting point for revenge. But one of them, especially, I find it very cheap that the story was then like, oh, look at him, he has the whole family, and, you know, a nice mom, a nice sister, nice attendants, but now he's going to kill them all in revenge, and it's like, again, not a fan. It's borderline on the perverse kind of revenge, which I do not like. Let's hope we are going to pull back a little bit more. Again, this could have been such a good idea with like a bunch of these sleeper agents, you know, preparing a bunch of them. I mean, alone having like a couple of them inside the city. So whenever you start attacking them, they could open doors, gates, whatever. Granted, you probably can just use AoE magic because you would have your grimoires. So maybe we don't need that. But yeah, I would have liked... It would have been enough for him to just mumble her name over and over again. Would have already been enough, in my opinion, to really send the message. In this way, it's just revenge porn.